And that's my next point. We're not going to return to the ex ante statu quo. It is going to be different. And final point, Melinda, that recovery is going to be incomplete and it might be transformational. And, incomplete, everybody will appreciate that because we will not travel as much, because we will operate
Christine
differently.
Lagarde is the acting director of the Central Bank of Europe, the former director of the International Monetary Fund.
Are going to come
I wonder
out
if it's
of
a
that
coincidence
recovery process
she has
in
an
a
owl
different
over
shape,
her
and some
shoulder.
of them will probably be hurt irremediably. But it will be transformational as well, because there will be industries that will arise from those changes.
Transformational industries.
Because we will see
who could she be talking about?
Proximity over mobility. Because we will see a revenge of digital over physical.
Digital over physical.
Trade will be significantly reduced. It is likely that as a result, productivity will be impaired unless it is pushed by other factors than trade, which did push productivity as it sustained and encouraged competitiveness. So we need to be extremely attentive to those that are most vulnerable.
Why do I take you through a little bit of history background? Well, because the fintech revolution questions the two forms of money that we just discussed, coins and commercial bank deposit. And it questions the role of the state in providing money. We are at a historic turning point. You, young or not so young, doesn't matter, but bold entrepreneurs gathered here today, you are not just inventing new services, you are reinventing the history of money.
Reinventing the history of money.
You're drawing a completely new future, actually. And we are all in the process of adapting. A new wind is blowing, and it is that of digitalization. And in this new world, we meet anywhere, anytime, as they said. And surprise, surprise, the town square is back. Back on your smartphone. We exchange information, services, even emojis, instantly, peer-to-peer, person-to-person. We float through a world of information where data is the new gold, despite growing concerns about privacy, about cyber attacks. A world in which millennials are reinventing how our economy works, phone in hand.
Here comes a narrative.
And this is key. Money itself is changing. We expect it to become more convenient, more user-friendly, perhaps even less serious-looking. We expect it to be integrated with social media, readily available for online and person-to-person use, including micropayments. And of course, we expect it to be cheap, safe, protected against criminals and prying eyes.
There's only one company that does that.
So what role will remain for cash in this digital world? There are already signs in some shop windows. Cash not accepted.
This is the continued
narrative. And it's not just in Scandinavia, the poster child of a cashless world. In various other countries too, demand for cash is decreasing, as is shown in our IMF work. And in 10, 20, 30 years' time, who will still be exchanging those pieces of paper called checks? Bank deposit, too, is feeling the pressure from new forms of money. Think of the new specialized payment providers that offer e-money. From Alipay to WeChat in China, to Paytm in India, to M-Pesa in Kenya. These forms of money are designed with the digital economy in mind. They respond to what people demand and what the economy requires.
And what it requires.
Even cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum and Ripple are vying for a spot in the cashless world. They respond to what people demand and what the economy requires. Even cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple are vying for a spot in the cashless world, constantly reinventing themselves in the hope of offering more stable value and quicker and cheaper settlement.
So he's also the one who told me about Bohemian Grove. Well, I actually watched it. I think this tape was actually made before I met him. So he went and snuck in to this place where like former presidents go. There's a photograph of it's Ronald Reagan with Herbert Walker Bush and a couple other people all standing around. And it's like these are the people that used to hang out at this place, and they would put on robes, and they would worship an owl god, and they would burn an effigy. And they're playing, and Alex snuck in and made video footage of this shit. And no one's denying that it's real. This really did happen. So they're in with these bankers and former presidents, and they're dressed like druids.
Yes.
And some guy brings over something it's an effigy that's supposed to be a body, a wrapped up effigy. It's also a bunch of sticks in a blanket, but it's like shaped like a body.
Yeah.
And then they drop it on the fire, and they're all worshiping an owl god.
This is that Alex Jones Bohemian Grove footage Joe Rogan was just speaking about.
There's been a lot of strange going-ons in that area of Northern California. This is what the establishment is into right here in America. The cremation of care. This was July 15th, 2000. People are deadly serious, those taking part in the ceremony.
This is the day Christine Lagarde became president of the
I see exactly where you're trying to get me. But, once and for all, I'm neither a dove nor a hawk. And my ambition is to be this owl. That is also often associated with a little bit of wisdom. I'm not full of vanity, but I will certainly try to bring the best out of members of my governing council.
They expect you to believe these narratives of an owl staying in a 75-foot tree, falling to the ground, healthy, and not flying out. Just doesn't make sense to me. Seems too much of a coincidence. But that's just my opinion. What do you think?
His wife then rang up Ellen Kalish at the Ravensbeard Wildlife Center.
The owl is believed to be a northern saw-whet, one of the smallest of its kind in North America. Ellen hopes to release the little bird back into the wild this weekend, but not without a new name. Rockefeller, of course.
He was the little gift in the tree this year. Rockefeller just seemed to fit right.
A new beginning for a little fella, already on a wild and wonderful journey. Now, you're probably wondering why the owl wasn't found before the tree was wrapped up and made the trip here. We asked the folks at Rockefeller Center that. They told us that every branch is individually inspected before the tree is wrapped up, but sometimes birds do somehow make their way into the tree.
So the owl didn't jump when they were expecting trees
during the journey.
Or
we should
branches,
note, even though this is a tiny owl, it is not a baby. This is actually
and now
an
it's named
adult
Rockefeller.
owl. That's who you got.
Some people say there's no coincidences. Pay attention to these narratives. This next one's very interesting. This is an owl from the Bohemian Grove Club.
This morning, a massive operation underway in the Suez Canal. A fleet of tugboats trying to free the Ever Given. President Biden says the U.S. is ready to assist.
We have equipment and capacity that most countries don't have, and we're seeing what we can be, what help we can be.
It's been 5 days since the Ever Given veered into the canal bank, blocking ships from traveling in both directions. No playbook for a crisis like this. The plan, first dig, then tug. The Ever Given's Japanese owners optimistic they'll free the massive container ship this weekend. But other experts warn it may be a much longer wait.
So when you're walking on a beach or you're digging wet sand or putting a bucket into wet sand, you get a slurping effect, which is suction essentially. And what you've got when you get a vessel that's stuck into that sort of seabed is a similar effect.
Every day, the backlog of ships waiting to enter the canal grows. One estimate, $400 million of goods blocked every hour.
Last but not least, we have this evergreen truck in China that just happens to be blocking the road. Boy, I don't know. It could be wrong, but damn, this is very convenient. And for those of you who know a little bit more, did you also know that Evergreen is a Japanese company? Something to look into. Let me know what you think. Leave comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.